Hi, I'm Deborah Atkinson, and you're watching Flipping 50 TV, the place to reset, tune up, and prepare for your second and better half with the vitality and the energy you want. In every episode, I answer questions from women just like you about what you're struggling with most, and I share how to move, what to eat and when, and easy, simple, safe, sane daily flips you can make so you can get the most results in the least amount of time. And I'd love to hear from you. Send me your question to flipping50tv.com. If I choose your question for the show, you get some juicy gifts I'll tell you about at the end of the show. And even if I can't choose your question, you'll get a copy right away of Muscles in Minutes. It's my guide to my 20 favorite exercises with over 40 photos that illustrate where to start, where to stop, and modifications in case you can't do every single exercise. So today's episode is all about a question coming from 55-year-old Jerry. She's lost 100 pounds and she's struggling with weight creeping back. And before I get to her question, let's just hold on a minute. She lost 100 pounds after 50. So congratulations, Jerry. That's huge. It's big. Jerry says, I'm wondering if there's a drastic change in my already slow metabolism and how I can try to combat it. So Jerry, again, congrats for showing us that weight loss can happen over 50 with the right steps and the right actions. And we're going to dive into a few reasons why it's actually logical that you might be feeling like your metabolism is slowing down and what you can do about it. Jerry, this is really important. Before we dive into a game plan with our Chalk Talk, we've got to cover this. So lightheadedness is nothing to skim over or take lightly. So what I really want you to do before we do anything else or you manipulate any other changes is to check your blood pressure. And ideally check it before you exercise, after you exercise, and every day, just once or twice sporadically, and see where you run. And if you don't know from previous doctor's visits, last year, the year before, check back and look, since you've been healthy, after all the weight loss, where do you run typically? Low blood pressure can be a problem. If it's coupled with low blood sugar, the two together, are the dynamic duo that you don't want working for you. They can be dangerous. So we want to address that first and foremost, and then reach out if you need a little help with what kind of results you get. We're going to talk when we get to Minute Maid, and we're in the kitchen about something that might surprise you that can actually help your results and help decrease the risk of this lightheadedness. In Muscles in Minutes, we're going to talk about how to make sure the exercise that I know you're doing is actually paying off for you, and how now that you've lost the weight and you're in that maintenance mode, you can keep it up and make sure that you are in maintenance mode, but you don't start slipping backward, because the body is so intelligent that it may help you do that. And last and definitely not least for you, when you tell me you're a 10, but we're talking about stress from 0 to 10 and 10 is high, that's not good. So stress actually may be a big part of what's slowing your metabolism or making you feel like that's what's happening. So here's the thing, whether it's emotional and it's coming from finances, relationships, it's coming from stress at your job, it's coming from exercise or nutrition, we're going to address both of those. It all is like another brick in a backpack that you're wearing. And pretty soon, if your body finds that you're under so much stress that you need a break, you can't really handle it all, what it does to protect you is slows the metabolism down. Thinking, we need to help her, conserve a little energy. So you and I think that's backfiring, right? But it is your body's way of self-preservation. So it's really important why we talk about isolating nutrition and exercise. You've got to think about the whole integrated package of you and get to the bottom of what's causing it. You can offset stress with joy. So bump your joy factor. Start doing more things that you do enjoy, that you look forward to. If these stressors can't go away, trying to balance them and help you reframe or cope better, that's one way around it. And the other thing is, really try to get to the bottom of it. Can you see the end in sight? Is this a short-term thing, or is there something you need to either do or not do to help you get rid of it? That's gonna be really important to your success. Jerry, we're gonna go right into strength training, and I know you told me you're doing at the gym twice a week, maybe once for spinning and another cardio, and then twice a week strength training. So I want you to keep that up, but for you or you at home, it's really important that you continue to make sure your muscles are fatiguing safely. We don't want you getting hurt, but you're gonna lift a weight so that you reach fatigue. Whether you need to go heavy and do fewer repetitions or go light and do a few more, you've got to be saying your goal is fatigue. So we're going to take 4 exercises and we're going to rotate them. So what happens is you get enough rest between fatiguing the muscle group we're training and doing it again. That's somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. And that's ideal according to a research study on increasing strength and increasing lean tissue, which means increasing metabolism or keeping it high if it's already there. So here's what we're gonna do: a chest press, a bent over row, a squat, and then a core exercise. Because if we take a minute doing each one of those, and a minute should result in about 10 repetitions if you're using 6 seconds each. Some of you need to slow down. All right, I know who you are. We're gonna lie down first on the mat for a chest press. So have a couple of weight options close by, but go heavy, and remember, failure or fatigue is success. So don't shy away. If you fatigue before 10, that's okay, that's success. Coming down to the mat, I've got my heaviest at-home weight right here, and keeping me honest and keeping me slow. Here we go. So we're gonna lower down nice and slowly, and push, we can power up. We're gonna lower down nice and slowly. Remember, this is not about more. It's about time under tension and reaching fatigue. And that's 3. Should have that core solidly down on the floor. So you're aware that you're drawing in that navel, just flattening. We're gonna talk more about bracing at another point. Lower down, easy. A little exhale on the way up. And if it's feeling like you right now are not halfway to fatigue, I want you to slow down, even slower than I'm going. Lower, nice and slow, and you can hold it a little bit longer right here at the low point before you push up. Makes a big difference. Lower down. Hold it at the bottom and push up. And I'm gonna do one more, and I'm almost there. So if I had a heavier weight here at home, I would use it and push. I'm gonna bring that into my chest, put it off to the side, and then carefully come up. This is my bent over row. Now, because this is my heaviest option, I'm gonna have to go with a 1-arm row. So I'm gonna take my feet wide apart. If you have a bad back, you may want to stagger your stance and do it this way. A little less pressure on the lower back that way. I'm gonna do my non-dominant arm first. So here we go. Hips are down, shoulders are a little higher. I have a small arch in the small of my back. Not rounded, but arched. Weights in my heels. We're gonna do a little power, up, and then let that come down nice and slow. And lift, and nice and easy on the way down. And up, and easy. And those elbows, when they're coming up, should be close to your side. Remember, this is the eccentric contraction on the way down. Don't get sloppy with that. And down. Here we go. Up and easy. Keep that good form. Weights on your heels. Neck and head nice and relaxed. Good alignment. And release. Should be starting to get close to fatigue. This one goes a little bit faster. So you've got a lot of power coming up, and then the weight is pulling you back down, right? One more for me. And then we're gonna switch to the other side. Right away, don't think about it, and pull, and then down. So if you notice that your dominant arm feels so much easier, be sure you're doing that non-dominant arm first when it's freshest. Slowly down and pull and easy down. And if you happen to be doing your strength training work at a gym and you're using machine weights, the same principle applies. You go slow and then power when you're lifting that weight. I'm gonna do 2 more on this side and 1 more. And release. And those were 2 upper body exercises. We're in lower body right now. So I've got the weight on my heels, feet wide apart, toes are wiggling. I'm gonna take that weight, I let it hang, but my shoulders are nice and relaxed, not being pulled. Hold there. We lower down and push up. Now in this one, it would be really easy to go fast. Go slow, don't be tempted. Power on the way up. Slowly on the way down. Power on the way up. It's all about the time you spend under tension, okay? So a lot of times we get in this habit where it feels pretty easy. And if you're lifting a weight at home, it's hard to get one heavy enough that you could truly fatigue and be safe enough to hold on to for your upper back and neck. So slowing down is really smart. Lower, power up. And if you're here with me, I want you to think about imagining that you're on ice skates. That's gonna engage your inner thighs a little bit more. Always a good thing, right? Keep tall from your tailbone to your head. So there's no rounding through your middle. You're nice and long, nice and tall. I'm gonna show you another option the second time we come through this. I'm gonna do 2 more. If you're not close to fatigue, think about a heavier weight if you've got one, or go slower. And we're gonna set this down. We're gonna come into a core. What I wanna do, naturally a plank is something all of us think about. But if I do a plank and then do chest press, I'm not allowing you to recover. So I'm gonna come down, lying on my back and arms out of the way. I'm gonna take the small of my back down to the floor and make sure you can see it. And then I'm gonna take my legs one at a time and bring them up in the air. Lower back right now still down, and I'm gonna tap one heel to the floor. I'm just gonna stay here for a minute and do this. So if you're watching the clock, you'll know it. This may not be one you do to fatigue, and that's okay. Part of the purpose of putting a core exercise here is to make sure we get adequate rest before we come back to those major muscle groups. It's not necessarily because we want to fatigue the core, okay? Keep that lower back down, and right now, if you're struggling to keep the lower back down, here's the option I want you to do. Put the lower back on the floor and then lift and lower the leg instead. In between, you're not letting go. And I want you to talk to me. Talk back to the camera. Go ahead, to your screen, okay? Because if you're holding your core, sometimes you will also be holding your breath, okay? So don't do that. You wanna make sure that you're very clear in your head that your core and your lungs are not related, all right? And the more you breathe, even like you're blowing out a straw, the more you're actually gonna tone that core from the inside out. Good, we're gonna do 1 more on each side. Keep that lower back down and solid, and you'll feel, even though you may not see it, if you're just watching, you'll feel how effective that exercise is. You're gonna go right into number 2. So our round 2, this is the second set of chest press. We're gonna lower this down, nice and easy. Hold it a little bit longer at the bottom because I'm really about getting you to fatigue in this set. You're gonna lower down slowly. Hold it at the bottom, but that doesn't mean that you're resting. My arms are not on the floor. And then I'm gonna push up. I'm gonna lower down. I'm gonna hold it right here at the bottom, and I'm hugging the floor with my shoulder blades. And then push. You're gonna lower this down. Hold it right here. So you're working under tension, those muscles are contracting, and then push up, lower down, hold it right here. And you can do this at a machine if you're using machines at a club, just the same way. So it's all about the how you do, not what you use, that's really important. Lower, hold it right here. And exhale. Inhale, come down. And you should be getting close to fatigue right now. And power. Last one for me. I'm gonna lower down slowly. If you're not yet at fatigue, you can hang here and do a couple more. And exhale. Or note, what weight were you using? And what weight do you need to use next time? Coming up, sometimes that's the trickiest, so be careful. And get ready for that bent over row that's coming up next. So I'm gonna do my left arm again first. That's my non-dominant side, my least favorite side there. Okay, so it's power. Come up and lower down, nice and slow. Weights on my heels, my head and neck in line with my spine, not too high, not too low, just right here. Pull, and easy to come down. Exhale, and easy down. Exhale up. Try to keep those elbows close to your sides. I'm trying to avoid the microphone on my side, so if it seems like my elbow's winging out just a little bit, remember you don't have a mic on. Pull and down, nice and easy. And lift and down. So it's all about where are you fatiguing? Be honest with yourself. And that's it for me on that side. Opposite side, chin and chest come up, do a little reset. And then this hand comes here. I'm not putting a ton of weight on it, but it's helping me gauge where my chest needs to be. Power up. And then easy on the way down. Power up. Easy on the way down. And lift. And easy. So notice this, I come up and I'm pausing just a second. So I own it. Nothing happening in a swinging manner. It's all under great control. And down. Weights on the heels. And easy release. Power up. I'm gonna do one more. And then down. Release. Okay, little regroup. When you come up and out of that, if you fatigued in the small of your back, know that that's normal. The muscles in your back are on. So when you go, stand up, come out of it and shake it out, you should say, okay, I'm good, okay? So we're gonna come back into the squat. I love a plie squat. If you've seen any of my videos, the DVDs or the digitals, you know this is true, and here's why. When you're at home, rarely do we stand that way, right? And it's hard to target and tone the inner thighs. But if you're turning out ballet, basically, and you're doing a plie squat with knees over your toes, we're really able to engage your inner thighs. And if you imagine you're on ice and ice skates, you're feeling the grip of the inner thighs on the way in and on the way out. So we're gonna do this and do a little change with the arms. We're gonna come down, same way we did, but I'm gonna change things about halfway through so that you're focused on the core a little more. And I've got a great prop. If you just feel like you can't hold on to a heavy enough weight to reach fatigue at home, one of the tools I love to use with clients is a weighted vest. So you'd be able to stand in this position, but you can have a 20, 30, or 40 pound weight vest on. And I'd recommend if you're smaller, go with the 20 pound weight vest. But that increases what you hold, what you're wearing, and you're doing much more resistance training. It can be a great way to load the spine safely, especially if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia. All right, so here's the switch. We're gonna bring this up to the chest. So what just happened? It's still the same 30 pounds it was down there, but what I'm doing is holding it up above my core, which makes my core have to pay attention a little more than it did before. So now it's not just hanging from my arms and shoulders, but I'm almost holding and pushing it up. And exhale. And you should be gripping those inner thighs. So there are a lot of moving parts, right? Even though it's a simple move. Last time. And I'm gonna do one more to the top and then bring it down. Careful when you set that weight down. I'm gonna move it away from me. We're gonna come right back to that last core exercise. So down to your back. I'm gonna repeat this exercise, and by the way, this is one I refer to as the single leg march. It's a borrowed from physical therapy move. And you can do one of two things. You can take that lower back and tuck it into the floor. If you've been doing that for a long time, what I want you to do is just slightly hollow out and then maintain that. And that's what we call neutral. So your ribs and hips in the front and in the back, same exact space. What you're doing as you move limbs is keeping this the same. Staying in neutral is the key. So there's no rocking. We're not doing that crunch, nothing even close. But holding still is what we're doing. You decide if you need to work from the floor, you're gonna stay right here. If you can come up, you're gonna hold this, heels down, and one at a time, and up. So a little detail. If you're at home and you're doing this and you don't have a mirror and you don't have somebody looking at you to tell you what this looks like, you wanna make sure that you're keeping your knee at 90 degrees. Here's an example of what not to do. Kind of dropping that heel in, bending your knee more, and then extending it again. What I want you to do is to move from your hip. It's like this is the hinge, and you're just moving that 90-degree knee down and up. Far more work, because this wants to go with you. When you take that down, here's what wants to happen. This is what don't do. Reach, and then back. You're instead fighting that. Every time that leg goes down, you're holding yourself still, and that is the resistance. But your back is in stabilization, which is what it does every day. Whether you stand a lot, or you sit a lot, or you do a lot of both, or maybe you're an avid bike rider and you have to maintain good form while you're on the bike. These are the muscles, and this is what you need them to be able to do. Stabilization is key. Last set, and then up. You're gonna drop your feet down, drop them to the side, and go ahead and come up. So let's regroup, okay? So what we've got here is we did 4 exercises. We had one on each side in that bent over row. So the whole series is 5 minutes long, approximately, give or take. But that gave you adequate rest. You did the chest press, and then you did the row, the squat, the core before we came back to the chest press. So you had somewhere between 4 to 5 minutes of rest before you did it again. And that is what helps you reach fatigue, but then come back at it refreshed so that you can recruit more muscle fibers, gain a little bit more hypertrophy, increase your lean, and boost your metabolism. We did 2 sets. You could do up to 4, but gradually do them. So if you did 2 with me today, do that for a couple of weeks, twice a week with 48 hours between, and then try adding the 3rd set. Keep it there for a couple of weeks before you decide to go on and try 4 sets if in fact you do. Jerry, we want to address that lightheadedness, and here's what I suspect might be a part of the problem. You're more fit than you were 100 pounds ago. And even though you're feeling like some of that might be coming back on, what you may need to be doing for maintenance, maybe a little bit more than you suspect, and you may have dropped carbohydrates out of your plan or dropped them really low in order to lose the weight. But now let's think of you as more of an athlete. You're more athletic than you once were, and we need to feed that body as opposed to the one that you were. So what I'd like to see you do is reintroduce some carbohydrates into your diet. And this is all after you've checked your blood pressure, so we know really what's going on. But then let's monitor how you feel when you slowly reintroduce. So a couple of ways you can do that. You can do a full-blown smoothie, putting a little fruit into your smoothie along with your protein and your fiber. So one option. You can also do overnight oats. So super simple, but you're getting the gluten-free oats in it much more so it's a heavier dose than what you might sprinkle into a smoothie. And then I've got an apple in here, which is another good source of carbohydrate. And the skin has a little fiber to it, so it's going to be good for slowing down the absorption. And when you have a resistant carbohydrate like that, or like garbanzo beans or any other type of beans, this is a white kidney or a cannelloni bean, you can do brown rice tortillas or quinoa. Those kinds of healthy carbohydrates kind of come in and they give you a little energy now, and they keep giving you energy later. They're not the kind that come in and then drop you down. So you need some more. So you want to be careful about the kinds you're choosing and start to incorporate maybe 1 serving at your breakfast, 2 servings at lunch, and then see how you do. If you're feeling too full, just keep it right there and have another couple of servings for dinner. So a serving is about a half cup of beans or half cup of quinoa. A brown rice tortilla is going to get you there. You could also have berries, low in sugar but high in micronutrients, which brings me to the next question. So in addition to feeling lightheaded, a little fatigued, you also mentioned that you're getting sugar cravings, and sugar cravings quite often are a sign of a micronutrient deficiency. So if you've not had them before, that kind of comes back to the theory that you may be needing to give yourself some more food because you are a different body with a little higher metabolism that you might be slowing down by eating less. So I want you to listen, and if you're at home watching, listen to this, because it's a message we probably need to hear over and over and over if you're over 50, because we've heard the reverse for way too long. If you eat less, you send your body a message to burn less, and you do indeed slow your metabolism. If you eat more, and I'm talking about eat more high quality food at each of 3 meals. We're not talking about grazing or 5 or 6 small meals a day. That actually sabotages. Fat storage gets better and fat burning gets worse if you eat those small meals all day long. So you want to make sure that you're eating good quality meals, high in protein with some fat, that have high quality carbohydrates, and you're feeling full and sated after every meal. And let's take a look at adding a multivitamin. That's a high quality one you're going to take in the morning and in the evening to be the full dose, and adding a few carbohydrates. And Jerry, let me know how that goes. Jerry, thanks so much for asking that question and sharing with us your successful weight loss journey. The key flip of the day for everybody watching is that weight loss after 50 is possible. If Jerry can lose 100 pounds, you can lose 5 or 10, and you can keep it off. And now I'd love to hear from you. Is your question a weight loss question, or is it something else? Send me your question to flipping50tv.com, and if I choose your question for the show, you get a trio of 3 full-size products for my friends at Anne Marie Skincare, soon to be your friends too, and you get exclusive access to the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women online course, plus a copy of You Still Got It Girl, my first book. And what you need to do is just head over to flipping50tv.com. No matter what, I can't choose everybody's question, but you'll get Muscles in Minutes, my guide to the best exercises for the best metabolism after 50 or anytime. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 together.